Hello, hello, what is going on, guys? Phoenix61 here with another World of Warships Legends video. Who would have thought? What do you know? Weird, am I right? We're rocking the Shima tonight. Shimakaze, right? So, yeah, you know, it's always... I always complain about spawning in the middle, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. So I'm going to head over to the sea cab, because I looked at the spawns and noticed no destroyer over there. Plus, there is a cruiser over there, right, on our team, right? So, having cruiser support while your destroyer is always super beneficial, right? Because if you get in a gun battle with another destroyer, if you can keep him spotted, hopefully your cruiser can help you out and kill said destroyer, right? Guns on the Shimakaze aren't anything to write home about. She is all about speed, torpedoes, and concealment, right? Doesn't really have anything else going for it. But this is a pretty good game setup when it comes to the ship counts, right? So 5 battleships, right? And then 2 cruisers, 2 destroyers, which is fine. But yeah, you always like to see more battleships, right? Because then you're, you know, especially when you're in this boat, right? You're all about going after battleships with torpedoes and putting up those big damage numbers, right? So that's the plan, right? Yoshino out there, I don't think he has radar, so I don't have to worry about that. So we will continue to press into the zone. I think if that was a radar cruiser, we might have a little bit more concern. But then, yeah, the other one pops up here too. Who is that? A Salem? He might have radar, but he's kind of far out, right? So we'll take some cheeky shots here at these battleships. And then, yeah, this Yoshino's getting close to us, so we're going to have to smoke if we want to try and cap this zone. I think that if I didn't have, this support behind us, he's right on the edge, right? So we're going to leave, but I was like, So, I'm like, you know what? We got support behind us. I should have had faith in my team, right? But, it's World of Warships Legends, right? We all like to blame our teammates for the losses, but we don't give them credit when things go our way, right? So I was like, I got support behind me. I should have stayed in the zone and just smoked, right? I would have been there. But nonetheless, we'll go back in, do the right thing, be a good little destroyer boy, and help get this zone captured, right? But awesome that they took out the cruiser. He would have been a big threat to us, right? So now we kind of have free reign. Yeah, we only have all those torpedoes we sent. We only got the one. And then Shimakaze on the enemy team, right? So I'm like, I would really like to help out with him. But, if we shoot, we're going to get spotted, right? So I'm going to hold off there. Because, we're close to having this zone capped. And I don't want to, if I smoke, then once we get the zone capped, I'm going to want to move again, right? So I'm going to hold off. So I held off on dumping my smoke screen to help with the destroyer in that example. But normally I'm like, see a destroyer, shoot a destroyer, right? Help get those guys off the board. Those are the biggest threats to your teammates. As you can see there, Shimakaze just took out our Kerr first, right? So, yeah. But we do get the capture here. And then I'm just using the torpedoes to kind of eye up which direction these guys are headed. This Yamato, I would imagine he would turn in some, so I'm going to shoot that rack short. This Iwami is kind of in a little bit of a retreat scenario, so, but, the battleships on our side, on our team, have been taken care of, right? So he may or may not keep going back. So I fired a little short on that one, too. And then, of course, there's the Salem. Not sure what he is doing, but yeah, we're going to get at least one hit on this Iwami from that first rack we sent. And then that triggers our epic mod for even more destruction, faster reload on our torpedoes. And then, yeah, there's the Salem with his radar. So we'll move away from him and just get some speed going. Don't be a sitting duck when you're spotted, obviously, right? And we finish off the Iwami. So that opens up some space for us to head this way without getting spotted. Just need to either wait that radar out or get out of its range, right? I'm like, he's got to be, 8.5. Okay, yeah, there we go. So I think that probably the time ran out on it. Your typical radar range is 9 kilometers, but of course every ship's a little different, especially those Soviet ones have wicked long 11-some kilometer radar rate. And we'll divide and conquer here. We can get into the zone and help cap this while we're waiting for reloads. We'll still be able to shoot back at this Yamato, so we'll go ahead and go in for the cap. Swing out a little bit. I was hoping to still be able to shoot at him, so we'll turn in here so we can do that. Yeah, and it looks like we're the only one spotting, too, at the moment, so... Classic. Alright, and then, yep, I'll shoot short. One thing that I always, like, you know, it's one of those situations where, like, do as I say, not as I do, so I always forget about this myself. But, like, if you've got torpedoes on the way, so yeah, we got a hit there. If you've got torpedoes on the way, you don't necessarily want to fire another rack at the same, like, suggested trajectory line, right? Because once that battleship or whoever it is sees that first rack, they're going to adjust course to try and mitigate that damage, either take less torpedoes or dodge them all, right? You know, ideally, right? So, of course, he's out there and he adjusted course because of that first rack of torpedoes that we had sent, right? We are getting flood on him. I do send this one just because, like, we don't have too much else to shoot at, but of course he goes down, right? So that is kind of also on the path of this curve here too, so that might work out for us, right? And then we've got another one just about ready anyway, so that is, like, when I feel like I'm rocking the Shimakaze, things are, like, flowing, where I'm having torpedoes ready to fire every, like, 30 to 40 seconds, right? Like, if you space them out, you know, so now I've got, yeah, 20 seconds till the next rack, right? So if you space them out, you're not in this, like, I don't know, like, this, like, panic situation feeling where you're waiting for torps to reload. Like, these things do so much damage, I feel like it's kind of a waste to just dump them all at once, right? So this is probably the destroyer that I have the most patience with when it comes to holding on to a rack here and there so that we kind of space them out, right? And then, yeah, just looking at the mini-map, like, you know, there's these two guys left over here, one battleship all the way across the map over at A, right? So we're just going to ignore that battleship that's far out, right? So we'll stay where we're most valuable at this time, right? But yeah, we're gonna get that torp hit, triggered the flood there, and it looks like he's flooding. We see damage numbers still ticking, and that is, like, probably the biggest advantage to spacing your torpedo shots out, right? So if you trigger floods, they're gonna put that first flood out, and then if you hit them again another 30 seconds later, that's just gonna be brutal. So yeah, he's still flooding. Do we even bother? Like, look at how quick that his health is going down. I don't see anybody else shooting him until right there. Although Worcester had him on fire too, is what it was. I was like, that guy's not even alive. It's just a flesh wound. And then there's Shimakaze. Yeah, so this is why, like, people like to say, you know, get those destroyers off the board early, right? Because one, we're this evil player here doing all this damage and killing these ships on our team, but the same thing is happening to my team, right? Like, that Shimakaze's out there sneaking up and dumping torps at people, and so we just lost our battleship, right? So we get a hit on the Salem. He's going to be my biggest challenge, right? Like, he's got radar, he's a cruiser. So we need another torpedo hit, and these spaced out torps hopefully do the trick for us here, right? So we hit him once, so he probably had to use damage con. And then now we've got another rack on almost there, plus another on the way, right? If he wants to stay in there to try and cap that zone, he's going to have to deal with more torpedoes. We're going to get this one. Give it, oh yeah, and a flood that he's not putting out. No duct tape this time. So I shot the rack because, like, this, you know, I think their destroyer could be in there too, their Shimakaze. If you notice, like, I don't see him on the board at all, so I think this is one that just never got spotted. But we might get this Salem with flood if we hadn't have got that extra hit there, right? So And then, yeah, you could see the zone isn't getting capped anymore, so I was wrong about that. Their destroyer's not in there. So we'll go after the Schlieffen. He's coming in to try and get the B hole. And we're going to be up on points now, too. So they need to get a zone. So we'll take advantage of the fact that they're kind of forced into being a little more aggressive, right? So we'll take advantage of that. If the Schlieffen comes to this side of this, if he comes towards our closer side, we'll be able to whoop him, right? So I think he might know what's up. So he's turning to go to the far side of B here. So he'll get behind there. We won't be able to shoot him. And I don't want to... looking at the point situation, I don't want to put myself at risk. I don't know where that Shimakaze is. If I lose, if I get shot, if I get killed, if I get sunk, right, that's going to be a little bit of a point swing in their favor. Yeah, and he's over at C, so we need to stay alive. Is kind of my point that I'm getting at there. But at least now I know where their Shimakaze is, right? So I can come in and be a little more aggressive with this Schlieffen. And I was kind of thinking if I needed to, we could shoot him to help, defend that zone. But our other destroyer is doing that exact same thing. So we'll hold off on firing guns at him. And I'm gonna send. We might need a luck shot here. So we'll send some torps towards the C cap, towards the C spot, and see if we can't get a lucky pick there. So he's got us, we see the located symbol, so he knows which direction we are, right? So he's got an advantage here, where he knows where, probably a better idea where he should be sending torpedoes at me versus me sending torpedoes at him, right? So I don't really want to push my luck, right? So we'll kind of point away from the zone. We'll see if we can't figure out where the Schlieffen is. And we may be able to run out the clock, too, is kind of another option here in this scenario as well, right? But I'm also kind of thinking, okay, if that Shimakaze got the cap on C. Yeah, there's the Schlieffen, okay. If that Shimakaze got that cap on C, he may be heading... directly into B here too, so we could dump some torps kind of through the crevices here towards C. There's only so many places he can be, and then yeah, he gets a little too close too. I was kind of surprised. So we'll open up the guns, use our smoke, get that one cheapo shot, right? And then I'm going to move away from there because we want to play this conservative, right? We're up on points and not by a lot, right? So if we lose a ship, that's going to be a point swing that might put us into a losing position, right? So we'll move away. They're the ones that need to be aggressive, right? They need to be more aggressive because they got to get the zone and potentially a kill, right? And then, yeah, we know that the Shimakaze, because we're in it, has a ton of torpedoes, right? So he sent all 3 of his racks at us to try and get rid of us. So if we would have stayed in that smoke screen, that would have probably been the end of us, right? And then if thinking back to them needing to be the aggressors here to win this, I'm like, all right, he might come into my smoke screen to try and challenge me, right? So I sent my torpedoes through our smoke. I'm gonna swing back around here. It's such a close game. It's like, do we need this kill? How fast are their numbers gonna tick up if they've got both zones, right? So he pops up on this side, and I'm gonna need help with him. I need an adult. I need an adult. I need an adult. We've got one torpedo rack ready, right? Because we had saved that one. We'll use the damage con to keep moving. And we did our kind of best guesstimation for that, where he might go, right? He knows we've got lots of torps too. So yep, we get that hit on him. So yeah, so I shot short, right? So that's going to solidify our win. That gives us enough points in our favor, right? Because when you kill a ship, they lose some points and you gain some points, right? And then depending on the ship type, it's more or less, you know, in each direction, right? So the swing is what I call it, the point swing, and so that gave us enough to solidify our win here. So now it's just a matter of one of us needs to stay alive, which should be pretty easy, right? 5 seconds left. That puts us at 207,000 damage, though, with 3 kills, so pretty good game. That was pretty fun, right? Huh? We'll see what the leaderboard looks like. Pretty confident in this one. We got 9 levels on that campaign that time. I think this was last campaign when we did this game. Yeah, 3,700 XP. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. I'm always like excited, like I'm always like, come on, get me over 4,000. Like that's the hard part, right? That 4,000 goal. And then yeah, so this is Tanaka, right? So this sexy lady is the Commander Geist, right? I don't even know if I checked that message. It may or may not have been hate mail. Who knows? I do love me some hate mail. I haven't gotten any in a while though. I don't know. But yeah, Space Fishy. So we're just torpedo centric on inspirations, right? You pick which. I never contend that my build is the best because I tweak them pretty often, but this is what I was using for this game, right? I do think that like this is probably a good choice for Shimakaze or torpedo centric builds. You may or may not like the inspirations. You could probably mix up a little more. And then I don't pick range because as these Japanese destroyers, you've already got quite a bit of range, right? So I pick reload time, right? You pick more range, it's just that much longer that like the torpedoes are going to be spreading out and traveling, and it's that much more time that you know, your enemies can have a chance to adjust course, right? If you're really shooting at somebody that's 13 kilometers out with a torpedo, like how often are you getting those hits, right? It's a little more rare, right? So that's just my thought process there. And then I think I chose the like speed over the smoke screen, but I think you could make a really good argument for having a longer smoke screen too on that last perk. And then of course I'm using Unstoppable. Can't get away from that. I have a problem, right? But I do appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Make sure to follow the channel. We are doing World of Warships videos a lot. So yeah, we'll see you next time. We'll see you tomorrow.